Hi, I'm Peter and welcome back to the History and Sabre Suites, the channel where I talk about HEMA, history and swords. Now this video is a response to some comments I received on my last video, which was a sparring video using these foam sabers. My clubmate Max and I recently got these and I posted a video of us sparring without any gloves or masks or any other protective equipment for HEMA. And some people talked about how they thought that wearing a mask should be the minimum for sparring, even when using training tools like this. And that's a totally fair point, and I actually agree with that statement. But I think there are exceptions to that rule, and I want to argue my points in this video, why we did it and why I think it can be a really good training situation to put yourself in regularly, and I will tell you why. So, number one, would I do this with a, let's say, with a steel saber? No, I would not. And just to add to that, I wouldn't even do it with a synthetic like this black fencer, because these are really hard materials that do not easily bend, and getting stabbed or cut in the face or in the eye or anywhere, basically, your abdomen, anywhere. Sparring full intensity with these training tools without any protective equipment is a big no-no. I'm not condoning that, and I don't really stand behind that. So with that out of the way, yes, I also agree that using a training tool like this, even though it's made of foam with a hard core in it, still bears some risk, and you can get injured in the nose, in the eye, as I said. Can happen, yes. It's also the reason why I would never, or the other instructors and my colleagues at my club, they would never give this to a beginner or even an advanced student at an official class and say, well, let's go bash your heads in with these. No, that's not something you do. If you are an instructor in a responsible club, I would not recommend doing this. I don't do this. I will not do it in the future. But the point why we did it, and I do think it can be valuable, is this. Now, wearing a mask, you get a feeling of safety. You don't protect your head as well as you would without the mask. And another thing, wearing a mask, you see, my head and then my mask beside it, the mask always makes your head protrude further out than it naturally would. So oftentimes when we get hit in sparring, whether it be longsword or saber, whichever weapon, what often happens is that you get hit in the mask where you wouldn't have been hit or wouldn't have got hit if you hadn't been wearing a mask, because it protrudes in front of your face quite a bit, and that makes mask hits something that can be very annoying, because even though you get used to it and you kind of know where your mask is and you get used to it after some time, still it's not something that you feel, and you know exactly, in contrast, where your face is. Now, simulating this with these kind of foam sabers is one way to minimize the risk of injury, and enables us to train and spar without anything on your body, mask, gloves, and really train or really experience a situation where you have to defend your face. And that's the main point I'm arguing. Now, yes, it can happen. You can get hit. I did get hit once, which is not in the video, when we were fooling around before I hit record. I think I hit Max in the face once. Not too hard. It can happen, and it does hurt, but we are two consenting adults, and we do value the experience of training like this for the aforementioned reasons. It's just something that puts you in a different headspace. It's something where you are very careful of not getting hit, especially to the face area. I can just speak from my own experience. Standing in guard like this and receiving a hit or a cut or a thrust somewhere in the upper area here, my upper openings, I'm like, nope, And this is something that you cannot simulate wearing a mask, because you immediately get this notion, this feeling of safety. And this really is the only way that you can ever, with minimal risk, train this kind of situation. And I think for that it's really valuable. You know, I'm not the greatest fencer in my world, but I happen to be one of the Sabre instructors at my club. And it's just something that is a valuable experience. And I think it's something that really helps you understand fencing better. You know, having to guard your head, your face, whatever. And also not having the mask protrude, so you get these fake hits, so to speak. So I do think under controlled circumstances, we still focused really hard to exercise a reasonable level of control. So I wasn't going to hit Max in the face full force. I think it's safe to say that I could have stopped the worst hits to the face, because control is something that's very important, especially in this kind of circumstance. So I do believe, for the reasons I'm trying to articulate right here, right now, it is very valuable, and it's something that you cannot simulate otherwise. Now, you are free to disagree with me, of course, and I do advocate the use of masks in our class and generally, period, but for two consenting adults who have a reasonable level of proficiency or control with any given weapon, this is something that you can benefit from, and it's also really fun, you know, not having a mask to worry about. You move differently, you breathe differently, you can see your opponent's eyes. That's also something that you never experience wearing a mask. So there are so many benefits that you can benefit from, that it really outweighs the cons, and the risks are acceptable in that scenario. So I hope you do understand why we did it and why I think it can be great. But always be careful. That's something that really should go without saying. Now, thank you for watching. Please leave your thoughts in the comments down below, and also don't forget to subscribe so you're not missing out on my future content. Now, thank you again for watching, and see you in the next one. Bye bye.